have a full match stranger, and that's who I'm using. A 10 out of 10 match, or 8 out of 8. I don't really know. So that's who I'm using, an unrelated match. So I'm very lucky to have a full match unrelated donor. But with with a full match unrelated donor, you have to use the more aggressive, but also more proven procedure. There are two different choices, two options. You have the less aggressive treatment and the more aggressive treatment. So the less aggressive treatment is less toxic, but they've only done it on one person so far, and that had some complications. It didn't work at first, and I don't remember exactly what happened, but I think he's okay now. He's cured now, but there were some complications. It didn't work at first, and there's only one person, so it's not really proven, but it is less toxic. It's on an outpatient basis. The chemotherapy is less aggressive, and the recovery is quicker generally. And that was what I was gonna choose. But with that, I will be using one of my relatives, a half match relative, because that is for a half match donor. If I'm going to use a full match, unrelated full match, I have to use this more aggressive treatment. But it's also more proven. It's the one they've done on the majority of sickle cell patients. I don't know how many, but it's tons. And it's proven, like I said, more proven. But the chemo is more aggressive. It's, of course, inpatient. I have to be here for the next 6 to 8 weeks, most likely. Best case scenario. But it's more realistic, 6 to 8 weeks. So I had to choose between using my sister's and getting the less aggressive but less proven treatment, or the unrelated match and using more aggressive but more proven treatment. So yes, I chose the unrelated match, even if it's a little bit scarier. Potential complications, graft versus host disease, rejection, infection. They wipe out your immune system with the chemo, and your bone marrow. Your bone marrow becomes empty. You have no immune system. That's to make room for the new bone marrow, of course, and to prevent rejection, to help prevent rejection. So those are the potential risks involved. Graft versus host disease, GVHD, that's the opposite, the reverse of rejection, where the stem cells, the donor cells, attack your body, as opposed to your body attacking the donor cells and rejecting them. It's the other way around. So that's more dangerous to you, of course. With rejection, it's more likely it just won't work. But with GVHD, it can actually kill you. And it can be very painful. Now they have safeguards in place to make it less fatal, less likely to be fatal. It's very rare now that it's fatal, but it can still cause complications. It's still very painful if it does happen. The two women who were at that seminar, I believe they did go through that, they experienced that, and they said it was very painful. They said that it caused severe abdominal pain. At least one of them said that. Another thing is a phantom pain. Once you're cured, that even though you are cured, it's like phantom limb pain after an amputation. Your limb isn't there, but you feel pain in that limb. So we're so used to having pain that we can still have pain even after we're cured, even though it's not real. So just because we're cured, we can still go through pain. So those are some of the risks involved. What else? That's all I can think of right now. 16 minutes. So the workup, leading up to this day, starting at the end of last month, they had to do a workout to make sure that I'm okay to go forward with the transplant and the chemotherapy, because there's a risk, of course, there's another risk is organ failure. That's another risk involved. So the workup involves several blood tests, X-rays, MRIs, CAT scans, EKGs, echocardiogram, just one EKG and an echocardiogram. What else? Just tons and tons of tests. Pulmonary function tests, just among many others. And sometimes only certain hospitals could do these tests. So, not living in the middle of the city, I had to drive back and forth to multiple major hospitals in different cities to do this workup. Because I live in a small suburb, there's no major hospitals around me. Well, there's not so close to me that I could just, easily drive to one near me. I had to drive back and forth to Anaheim, Los Angeles, mostly Anaheim and LA, to do these tests. Only the first lab test was I able to go to my local Kaiser medical offices. The rest I had to drive to Anaheim and LA and West LA also to do these multiple tests. West LA is where I had this line placed and the exchange transfusion to prevent a pain crisis during this transplant. So you'll have to have an exchange transfusion beforehand. I also had an exchange before the clinical trial. Those are the only 2 times that I've ever had an exchange in my life. I've had regular transfusions a few times, but never really an exchange. I'm very lucky in that I have relatively minor disease compared to many others where I haven't had any serious complications. The only symptom I've ever had is pain crisis, and I haven't had that many transfusions in my life, honestly. The last one I had was in April this year. The last one before that was April of 2015. That's 4 years between transfusions. And I was also lucky that I wasn't even sick as a child. I wasn't very sick. Very few times did I go to the hospital. And it was mostly for pneumonia, not really often for pain crisis. Mostly pneumonia and some other complications. The pain crises, I did have a couple as a child, but mostly those didn't start until after I graduated high school. So here we are, I guess, 6 to 8 weeks. I can't even stand being in the hospital for 2 days, let alone 2 months. So this is gonna be tough, but it will be worth it in the end, because this one long hospital stay hopefully will mean no more hospital stays for the rest of my life, at least not due to sickle cell. So it will not be a huge part of my life anymore. So I hope I covered everything that I want to cover. If not, we'll discuss that next time. And I hope I wasn't too boring. I'm not the most charming talker, but I am doing this to put a face to this procedure, to inspire others to do this. I'm going to vlog this through the entire procedure, the entire process, the entire recovery. I don't know if I will vlog every single day, but maybe just mostly significant events. And even past the recovery, I would try to stay updated on this, just so you can see my progress and how I do for the rest of my life. Not the rest of my life, but just to show what this does to my life, just how life changing this is. Just show the changes that this is going to make to my life, and hopefully that will inspire others to pursue this treatment. It's becoming more and more common and more available to those with this disease. So I will end that here. It's been forever. I don't know what's taking them so long. They said they'd come back, but they're not coming back. It's been probably an hour. But anyway, well, good night for now, and I will see you tomorrow when I start the medication, the ATG.